So there are five main components to the public speaking class. Number one, the students are going to be giving some speeches to the class as a whole, and then in the final class to the parents who are invited to the last half hour of the class. Number two, they're going to put together a TV news broadcast. Number three, we have some different fun games throughout the class that the kids will play, all with a public speaking angle. Number four, they're going to watch some videos of public speeches that famous people have given and not so famous people. And then the last part of the class is some of the kids are going to participate in debates. The kids are going to give an informative speech to start the class and a persuasive speech. Then they'll have an option to do a third speech if they have time. As with any class, over time the kids get stretched out a bit in terms of what they've accomplished. Some kids are going to work at a slower pace than others. So for that reason, we have some optional activities towards the back half of the class that kids can do if they have time, but not all of the kids will do. The students will be planning out with a planner their informative speech, and then they'll transfer the things that they're going to talk about in their speech to note cards. We spend a lot of time at the beginning of the class teaching the kids some techniques for public speaking and also how to fill out a planner for their speech, how to organize their speech, and how to transfer to note cards to actually give their speech. So the kids will be pretty familiar with this as they're going along and doing it. They're going to start with an informative speech, and then they're going to do their persuasive speech by themselves as well. Probably all the kids will have a chance to do those two speeches throughout the class. The third speech can be either a persuasive speech or an informative speech, and it can be with a buddy. That's the third optional speech. For each of their speeches, they're doing the planner, they're doing the note cards, and then they're practicing their speech. So as kids finish their note cards and are ready to practice, you can pair them up in different spots around the room to do a practice session. We have a little feedback sheet that kids fill out during the practice session. So let's say two kids pair off to go do their practice. One student will give their speech to the other student. The student who's listening and giving feedback will fill out a feedback sheet that just asks them to fill out some things like, did the speaker speak in a loud voice? Did they make eye contact? How is their posture? And some things like that. After the students have practiced their speech in small groups, they're going to give their speech to the larger group, to the class as a whole. It's really important when they're doing that you establish a supportive atmosphere. Some of the kids may be taking this class because they're a little bit shy or nervous giving speeches. While they're giving the speech to their group, you want to stand up there and be very smiley and just like giving a lot of visual encouragement to the students. And then once they finish their speech, spend plenty of time asking the students to comment on what they liked about the speech. If for some reason students just aren't doing that or aren't coming up with a lot of positive feedback, then you jump in and give some positive feedback. Then after you've given maybe 3 or 4 compliments from the group, then you can go ahead and ask for a couple of suggestions for things to work on. It's easier usually for kids to find things for the speaker to work on than to give compliments. So if it starts to get to be a negative tone, then I would stop everything and re-explain something that we mentioned in the videos, which is that it takes a lot of bravery to get up there and give a speech, and so we want to be positive and encouraging to our classmates. So if you give a speech and then everyone jumps on you with like things to work on, it's not going to feel very good. So you can talk about that really directly with the kids. So the students are going to be coming up with different news stories to give. We have some sample videos of other classes that have done this project. The stories that the kids choose can be anything that they're familiar with. You don't really have set up most likely to have the kids do a lot of research, so you want to encourage them to do stories they know a lot about already. If somebody needs to look up a name or a date or something, you could have them come up to the teacher laptop to do that. But generally, they're going to pick from some different categories that we give them for news stories. And this is all laid out really clearly for the kids, but those include like a world news story, a local story, a school story, a story about their own life, a review of like a book or a movie, a sports story. Any of those are fine for the news broadcast. Students are going to write out a script so they know exactly what to say during the broadcast, and then they're going to design like a little placard that we call it, which is like the thing right behind them, a picture that tells what the story's about. Once students start finishing that, you'll have them come over, you'll videotape them with a cell phone, you'll make sure to have their placard hung up, and you'll just videotape their segment. We instruct the kids that if they mess up while they're giving their news story, that that they should just keep going. So you'll be filming all of the students doing short little, maybe 1 minute or so news stories, and then what you'll do is you'll send those to us and we'll put them together and create like a movie. So you don't need to put the videos together, you just send those to us and we create the full news broadcast at the end. Towards the end of class, we have a debate. We give the students a topic, which the first topic is usually whether they think that teachers should give out homework or not. We talk about how in a debate, like in a middle school or high school debate, you're assigned one side or the other, you don't get to choose. So we really emphasize that they may say, like, they may think that teachers shouldn't give homework, but they may be assigned to make the argument for why they should. Now, the only students who will do the debate are those who, at the point where we get to the debate, are ready to do it. Some students may be a little bit behind, still working on their TV news, and that's totally fine. In fact, we would prefer if not everybody does the debate, because some kids are going to be the judges. So the kids who are ready, and we talk in the video about what being ready means, those kids will be paired on one side or the other of the debate. Each team for the debate has either 2 or 3 players usually on it. We talk about the whole structure for the debate. They plan out what they're going to say. They plan out a challenging question to ask the other side, and then you hold the debate. We show everyone where to sit. We show them how the judging works. But just to let you know, each side will do each part of the debate, and then at the end you will gather with the students who are the judges. These are the students who didn't participate in the debate, and you'll like huddle with those students and see which side won the debate. So you'll basically take a vote with those students to see who won. If there's an even number of students, then you vote too. If there's an odd number of students, then you don't vote. That way we have a clear winner one way or the other. When you announce the winner of the debate, you just want to do it like really casually, remind the kids that everyone did a really good job, gave their best effort, and it's just for fun, and just make it super low key. We don't want that to be really competitive. Then you can announce the winner, but again, not super competitive. Other things that we do in the class, we play a few games. We play a 3 truths and a lie game where students make up one lie about themselves and 3 things that are true, and then they get up and try to stump the class. We have another game called I Believe, where they'll get a topic and then they come up with an I believe statement about that topic. So if it was like cats, their I believe statement might be like cats are better than dogs, and then they have to get up and argue and try to convince the class of that. Again, we go through that game very specifically, step by step, for the kids in the video, so it will be very clear how to play when you get to that point. And one last thing, we do we view some speeches of famous people like Barack Obama, Ronald Reagan, Jesse Jackson giving speeches, and the kids do some critiquing of those speeches. And we also have some speeches of like real people who are some kind of like non-examples of a great speech, so they critique those as well. So going into the final class, we have students choose one of their speeches to give to the parents when the parents come in. So this is a speech they've probably already given, either their informative speech, their persuasive speech, or they can do the third buddy speech if they got that far and actually had a chance to do it. And they'll have some extra time to practice those one more time before they give it to the parents. So they should have practiced it quite a bit and gotten some feedback on their speech. You can definitely give them some feedback as well. So that's pretty much the program. We try not to tell you each and every little aspect of the class because those are clearly laid out in the videos themselves and you're going to pick them right up just as the kids do. But we did want to give you an overview of all of the different projects and how they work.